This happened when I was 12, back in 2012. We lived in a small, nowhere town in eastern Oklahoma, where the houses sat far apart, separated by thick patches of pine and scrub oak. You couldn't see the next driveway from ours unless the leaves were down. It was a Tuesday in late September. My parents had finally decided I was old enough to stay home alone for the couple hours between getting off the school bus and them coming back from work. Usually I went to my mama's house after school, but this year they said I could handle it. Bus dropped me off around 3:05. Dad usually rolled in about 4:45. Mom a little after 5, unless she had meetings. That day was different. Mom had parent-teacher conferences and wouldn't be home till almost 8. Dad texted during lunch that something came up at the plant and he'd be late, maybe 7:30 or 8 himself. I didn't think much of it. Sun was still high, sky clear, and I had the new Minecraft update to mess with. I kicked off my shoes, ran upstairs, and hopped on Xbox Live. Only my buddy Seth was on. We built stupid stuff and talked trash like always. 2 hours flew by. I remember it was 5:12 exactly, because I glanced at the corner of the TV when I heard the first sound. A car door. Loud, heavy, not the soft click of Mom's Camry or the diesel rattle of Dad's work truck. This was a solid, deliberate thunk from the driveway. Our house sits kind of high, so from my bedroom window, I can see straight down onto the gravel. I leaned over with the headset still on and looked. Red pickup. Old, faded, maybe early 2000s Chevy. Nobody we knew drove anything like that. The truck was parked sideways across the middle of the driveway, like the guy was blocking his own exit. The driver was already out and walking toward the front porch. Big guy. Dark ball cap pulled low. Oversized camo jacket, even though it was still 78 degrees outside. Jeans and work boots. Seth was in my ear asking what skin I was gonna use for the new update. I just whispered, "Dude, somebody's here." By the time I got to the window that faces the porch, he was already knocking. 2 hard knocks. Waited, 2 more. Then he turned and started walking back toward the truck. I let out a breath. Probably just somebody lost or selling something. Then he walked past his truck. He went straight to the side garage door, grabbed the handle, and rattled it hard. Locked, thank God. We forgot sometimes, but Mom had been paranoid about it lately. Seth's voice cracked in my headset. What the hell is he doing? The guy didn't even pause. He kept going, disappeared around the corner of the house, toward the back patio. I dropped the controller, yanked the headset off, and ran downstairs barefoot. I slid behind the half wall that separates the stairs from the living room, so I could hear, but not be seen. My heart was hammering so loud I was scared he'd hear it through the windows. I heard the back door handle jiggle. Once, twice, then a heavier sound, like he leaned his weight into it. A second later, something dropped onto the concrete patio. Not loud, but solid, like a brick or a rock. peeked around the corner just enough to see through the blinds. He was crouched down, flipping the welcome mat, pushing the big ceramic planters to the side one by one, looking for a key. We did have one. Mom kept a spare taped under the lip of the little flower box that hung off the railing, out of sight unless you knew exactly where to feel. He never found it. After maybe 30 seconds, he stood up, brushed his hands on his jeans, and walked back the way he came. I ran upstairs so fast I almost fell, threw the headset on. Seth, he just tried to break in. He was looking under the planters for a key. I got to the front window just as he opened the driver door of the red truck. He didn't get in right away. He stood there staring at the house for what felt like forever. Then I noticed what was in the bed of his truck: a shovel and a long crowbar. He finally climbed in, backed out slow, and left. I watched the dust cloud disappear down the road. I called Dad shaking, told him everything. He said, "Stay upstairs, doors locked, don't open for anyone." He'd be home in 20 minutes and was calling the sheriff on the way. Deputy showed up with Dad. I told him every detail I could remember: the truck, the camo jacket, the tools in the back. He wrote it all down, said he'd run the description, told us to change the hiding spot for the spare key, and think about getting cameras. Said stuff like this happens sometimes. Guys looking for empty houses to rob, probably scared off when nobody answered. That guy never came back. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. But that's another story. Last summer, right after I turned 17, my mom flew to Germany to visit my grandparents for 3 weeks. First time she'd left me completely alone in the house since I got my license. My older brother was already moved out to college, so it was just me, the dog, and a freezer full of corn dogs. 2 days after Mom left, my buddy Caleb came over. We were both off work and decided to be degenerates. He brought a stack of burnt PS2 games he'd scored from this sketchy guy behind the vape shop in town. 20 discs for $30, handwritten labels in Sharpie. One of them was labeled Silent Hill 2 Full Game in red marker. We were hyped. Originals cost way too much. We threw it in my brother's old fat PS2 that still had the flip-top mod. The disc spun. The screen went black for way too long. Then the DVD player menu popped up instead of the game. Just one folder called VIDS. We laughed, figured it was a bonus or something. Clicked the first file, grainy night footage. 2 college-age girls stumbling out of a bar, laughing, clearly drunk. Camera follows them from across the street for like 8 minutes as they walk home. No sound except wind and distant traffic. They go inside an apartment building, and the clip ends. Second file, same apartment door, different night. Close-up of a gloved hand using a tension wrench and pick. You hear the pins click. Door opens. Camera creeps inside, straight to a bedroom. One of the girls from the first video is passed out on top of the covers. The breathing behind the camera gets heavy, excited. A knife slides into frame, rests on her cheek, traces down to her throat. Hand pulls the blanket off her legs. Then it just cuts to black. Caleb and I sat there frozen. Third, fourth, fifth files, same pattern. Different women followed home, different locks picked, different bedrooms filmed while they slept. Sometimes the knife just hovered. Sometimes clothes got cut. Never any faces of the guy holding the camera. We were about to turn it off when the 10th file started. Same shaky night vision walk, but this time I recognized the street, our street. Same angle from the ditch across the road. The woman walking was wearing the exact navy dress and white cardigan my mom had worn to the airport 2 days earlier. Same suitcase with the broken wheel she always drags. The timestamp in the corner was the night she left. I felt my stomach drop through the floor. There were still 30 unused gigabytes on the disk. That meant there was room for whatever he filmed inside our house. I told Caleb we were leaving right now. We grabbed overnight bags, the dog, and the DVD and went to his place 10 miles away. His parents were cool with it. I couldn't sleep. Kept checking the windows like someone was already outside. Next morning, we went back to grab more clothes. Front door was still locked. No broken windows. Nothing obviously wrong. I almost convinced myself I'd overreacted. Then I walked into my bedroom, above my bed, written in my mom's dark red lipstick, in huge capital letters. Both ladies in this house refused me entry. It hurts me so much I bleed. There were streaks running down the wall, like whoever wrote it had smeared it with their fingers. I called the cops from Caleb's phone. 2 deputies showed up, took one look, and basically laughed it off. Looks like lipstick, not blood. Probably one of your buddies messing with you. They left after 10 minutes. I wasn't taking chances. That night, I set up my old laptop on my dresser, webcam pointed at the bed, and used remote desktop so I could watch the feed from Caleb's house. Figured if anyone came back, I'd have proof. 2 nights later, 2:14 a.m., I'm watching the live feed on my phone under the covers at Caleb's. The bedroom is dark, except for the streetlight coming through the blinds. A shadow moves across the wall. Then a little notification pops up on the laptop screen. USB storage device inserted. Someone is in the room right now, using my laptop. I mash the shutdown button on the remote session. Too late. They open the media player. A new video starts playing on the disk drive. It's me, yesterday, carrying my duffel bag and the dog's food bowl up Caleb's driveway, filmed from the woods behind his house. The video minimizes. The webcam feed tilts slightly. Someone adjusted the laptop to face the wall better. Fresh lipstick, same color, right under the first message. You kept what belongs to me now. I take something of yours. You will bleed the same. I'm shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. Caleb and his little brother are asleep upstairs. Their parents are at some work dinner till morning. Then I hear it. Downstairs. The soft click of the front door handle turning. I wake Caleb. We lock ourselves in the upstairs guest room, push the dresser against the door. Caleb calls 911 on his cell. Dispatcher says units are 10 minutes out. We sit there in the dark, listening to slow footsteps on the stairs. The same deliberate pace you hear in the videos. I still have the DVD in my backpack. Part of me wants to snap it in half and flush it. The other part knows it's the only proof anything happened at all. Cops got here 20 minutes ago. They're making us come in for statements. The DVD accidentally shattered when the officer put it in his pocket. He says it just cracked on its own. I don't know what happens next. I just know he still has the copies, and he knows exactly where I am. Last year, summer of 2024, I was 21 and had just moved into a little duplex on the edge of Knoxville with my girlfriend, Riley. It was our first place together. Cheap rent, quiet street, mostly older couples, and a few rentals full of UT students who were gone for the summer. We barely knew anyone. I had Fridays off from the shop, so on July 12, I was home alone, Riley pulling a double at the hospital. I was parked at the coffee table with my laptop, half-assing some online certification course, when someone started pounding on the door. Not knocking, pounding, like they were trying to wake the dead. I figured Amazon finally showed up with the new router we ordered. Opened the door without even looking through the peephole. Guy standing there, maybe mid-40s, patchy beard, sunburned neck, wearing an old orange Home Depot polo, 2 sizes too big, and dirty jeans. No name tag, no lanyard. He's holding a plain brown box about the size of a shoebox. Package for Logan Reed. That's me. He shoves it into my hands, turns, and walks off. No truck, no van. Just heads down the sidewalk and around the corner like he lives here. The box has no labels, no tape from any carrier. Just my name scrawled in thick black Sharpie. I take it to the kitchen, slice it open with a steak knife. Inside, wrapped in a single sheet of printer paper, is one fresh Polaroid. It's me, standing in the doorway, taken 2 seconds before I opened it. I dropped the knife, ran outside barefoot, looked both ways. Nothing. Just cicadas screaming in the trees and heat coming off the asphalt. Called Riley. She told me to lock everything and call the cops. I did. Officer showed up, glanced at the photo, shrugged. Kids with instant cameras do this crap all the time now. TikTok challenge or something. Took the picture for evidence and left. I tried to laugh it off. Put the empty box on the porch for trash pickup and triple-checked every lock. That night we slept with the lights on. 2:47 a.m., something thuds on the porch. Hard. I jump up, heart in my throat. Another thud. Then slow footsteps across the boards. I creep to the living room window and peel the blind back half an inch. Same guy. Different box. Bigger this time. Walking away down the street again. I call 911 before he even turns the corner. Cops come faster this time. He's gone, but the box is sitting right in front of the door. Officer opens it on the porch with gloves. 15, maybe 20 Polaroids spill out. All of our house. Different times of day. Some from the street, some from the backyard. We share with the empty duplex next door. A couple zoomed in on the kitchen window. The last one is pointed straight through the living room blinds at me, sitting on the couch from earlier, that afternoon, the same moment I was waiting for the first cop. The officer's whole attitude changes. He tells us to pack a bag and leave tonight. stay at Riley's parents' for 4 days. While we're gone, they pull every ring clip in a 5-block radius. Nothing useful. But another neighbor 2 streets over had reported the same guy a week earlier. Fake pest control shirt, asking about rodent activity, taking pictures of backyards, then disappearing. They finally catch him 9 days later in a traffic stop. 46-year-old Raymond Holt lived in a storage unit park off Chapman Highway. Used to be maintenance for half the rental houses in our part of town before he got fired for losing keys. Still had a full ring of old master keys that apparently still worked on a bunch of the original locks, including ours. In his van, they found 42 cardboard boxes, each one labeled with a different address. Ours was near the top. Inside our box, the original Polaroid he handed me, plus about 60 more. The newest ones were taken inside our bedroom while we slept. Riley curled up on her side, mouth open. Me sprawled on my back, close enough that you can see the little scar on my shoulder. No damage to the doors or windows. He just let himself in, stood over us, and took the pictures. We moved out before the lease was even up. Landlord changed every lock in the building, but it didn't matter. Sometimes I still get packages with no return address, plain brown boxes. I don't open them anymore. I leave them on the porch exactly where they land, and I wait for the footsteps to walk away.
Looking at Hooters isn't as chaotic as folks imagine. Yeah, you deal with the odd rowdy patron or off-color remark, but usually it's all about serving up wings, chatting casually, and faking a chuckle at lame puns to boost those tips. I'd been slinging plates there for nearly 2 years, totally in the groove, until that fateful evening. It was a slow Tuesday. The place was only half full, and I was wiping down a booth by the bar when I spotted a lady with this bizarre bowl haircut that screamed DIY disaster. She had on a thick wool sweater, despite the mild weather outside. The second our gazes locked, she grinned at me, and next thing I knew, she was striding over, hugging her handbag tight. "Hello, sweetie," she cooed, her tone overly sweet yet unsettling. "It's wonderful to meet you at last, Emily. I follow your Instagram like it's my daily devotion." I paused, caught off guard. I'm no big-time influencer, and having someone confess to tracking me so boldly was a first. All right, what can I do for you?" She beamed even brighter. "You're even prettier up close. A table for one, if you please. But I want you as my server, nobody else, just you. Okay, follow me." She trailed behind as I led her to a quiet corner booth, softly singing some vintage melody to herself. When I passed her the menu, she deliberately grazed my fingers with hers. "Such elegant hands you have. Do you play the guitar?" "Nope, just haul trays and spill stuff occasionally." She let out a shrill, overly enthusiastic laugh. "Oh, you're hilarious. You've got real charisma." I gave a weak smile and asked for her drink order. She went with iced tea. When I returned with it, she bombarded me with invasive queries like rapid fire. "Do you live around here? Seeing anyone special? What car do you own? Attend any services?" Eventually, she leaned in and said, "I believe we could be amazing pals, Emily, perhaps something deeper." I blinked in surprise. "I'm flattered, but I actually have a girlfriend." Her face transformed in an instant like a light switch. Her mouth tight, her eyes shadowed. "Women like that spoil all the good things." "Pardon?" She abruptly seized my arm. Her touch was icy. "Don't squander your potential on someone unworthy. Ma'am, please release me. Call me Marlene. I'm not some stranger. Relax." Things escalated quickly into a loud dispute, with Marlene yelling at me. Mike, my shift supervisor, saw from afar and hurried over. Is everything okay here? She's perfectly fine, Marlin replied, flashing that creepy, fractured grin again. Just some girl chat. Mike glanced my way. You all right, Emily? I quickly recounted how Marlin had been acting out. Mike backed me up right away and told her to exit the premises. The glare she shot when Mike mentioned involving security to escort her was pure venom and fury. But as she departed, she smiled at me one last time and scorched Mike with a stare. The incident wrapped up there. I tried to brush it off. My girlfriend, Alex, picked me up post-shift. I was replaying her phrases, the way she pronounced my name, the firmness of her hold. Alex noticed my stress and probed if I was fine. I shared the Marlene saga during the ride home. She labeled her a nutcase and urged me to alert authorities if she reappeared. Sleep evaded me that night. Come morning, my phone buzzed. It was Jenna, a fellow server. Her tone quivered. Emily, have you heard? Heard what? Mike's gone. They discovered his body in the back lot behind the spot, stabbed viciously. Police figure it went down right after closing. My gut sank. Mike had clashed with her over me, and she struck me as the vindictive type. But evidence? Zilch. All day the link haunted me. Marlene's expression replayed endlessly. That final glare at him. By evening, arriving home, a tiny parcel awaited on my porch. No sender info, my name in elegant script. I assumed Alex had surprised me. I carried it in and unpacked it at the counter. I recalled immediately, pulse racing. Beneath crimson-stained napkins lay a creased letter. The script was unsteady yet intentional. It stated rejecting me was a mistake. I rang Alex at once. She instructed me to secure the house and contacted law enforcement. I complied. They collected the item, documented it, but noted without linking it to her. Options were limited. Sleep's been rare lately. Every house noise startles me. I haven't returned to the job. Maybe relocate to a fresh town, begin anew. Alex thinks I'm overreacting, but I sense it won't help because last evening, passing the den window, a glimpse in the pane caught my eye. On the pavement outside, Marlene lurked, eyeing my place. I know she'll cling on stubbornly. Working the late shift at Hooters isn't glamorous. Most nights were routine. Fryers sizzling, orders coming in, and the hum of conversation and clattering dishes. Nothing ever disturbed me until that night. It was around 11:50 p.m. I was wiping down the grill, trying to finish my side prep when headlights bounced off the windows. A delivery truck pulled up silently outside the back door. Not the usual branded delivery van. No one inside spoke as the driver jumped out carrying 3 unmarked cardboard boxes. They were labeled in black Sharpie, premium cuts. The driver handed a clipboard to Derek, the branch manager. He looked normal enough on paper, mid-30s, slick-back hair, a permanent smirk, but something about his eyes always made me uneasy. That night, he barely glanced at the receipt, shoved it into his pocket, and muttered, "Leave 'em be. Just freezer stock, Rachel." I nodded, but something in the pit of my stomach didn't sit right. The boxes were heavy, the tape was peeling, and they smelled weird. Derek wheeled them inside like they were nothing, and slammed the door shut behind him. The shift ended. I clocked out, grabbed my keys, and headed for my car. But as I reached the alley outside the back, I realized I'd left my phone on the prep table. Not a big deal. I figured I'd just grab it and leave. I went back in, and this time I noticed the freezer humming louder than usual. I froze. The door, which Derek had slammed shut, was now slightly ajar. I had no reason to open it. He specifically asked me to leave the boxes alone. But something gnawed at me. Curiosity, gut instinct. I pulled the door fully open. Cold air hit my face, fogging the air around me since I wasn't wearing glasses. I stepped inside, eyes adjusting to the dim freezer light. I saw one of the boxes opened. I swear my heart stopped. Vacuum-sealed bags of raw meat lay spilling out, stacked unevenly. At first, I thought maybe a box had torn in transport, but something was wrong. The cuts were uneven and jagged. The color was off, not fresh red, but a sickly brown pink that made my stomach churn. In addition to the unsettling color, there was a tattoo. It was faint, almost invisible beneath the packaging, but unmistakable. A small star tattoo on the ankle. My blood ran cold. That tattoo, I knew it. One of our missing Hooters waitresses, Megan, had that exact tattoo. I stumbled back, fumbling for my phone, and shaking, I dialed 911. Hello, there's human meat in the freezer at Hooters. You need to send someone. Please hurry. The dispatcher asked questions I barely heard. I was hyper-aware of every sound, the hum of the freezer, the empty street, and my own breathing. I was about to give them the address when a voice stopped me. You don't understand, Rachel. I spun around. Derek was standing there, knife glinting in the alley light. His smirk was gone. His eyes were hard and dark. You're seeing things that aren't there. I saw it, I said, my voice shaking. The tattoo, it's hers. There's human. Derek stepped closer, raising the knife slightly. You misheard or you misunderstood. Nothing here is what you think it is. I backed up instinctively, bumping into the dumpster. My adrenaline spiked. I pressed the phone against my ear and whispered into it, he's here. He's got a knife. The dispatcher told me to stay calm as the cops were on their way. Derek lunged, just a quick swipe, more of a threat than an attack. I dodged and ran toward the street, shouting, help, somebody help me. I hid behind this heap of trash bags, waiting for the cops. When they finally arrived, they found Derek inside. He was putting those meat boxes in a large bag, probably planning to run away. They caught him quickly. He didn't resist. But even as they cuffed him, I saw the panic in his eyes turn to something colder, more calculated. They searched the freezer and found more boxes. They ripped them open carefully, gloved hands moving like surgeons. Every box contained vacuum-sealed human remains. I couldn't look directly at most of them, but the tattoos were unmistakable. Megan, another missing cook, and even a manager from a different branch. Derek tried to explain it away. He said he handled premium cuts for specialty events and there was a misunderstanding, but the officers weren't buying it. Evidence, DNA, fingerprints, it all pointed to him. I watched him being led out, still trying to charm, still trying to argue, and I realized something that would stay with me forever. He didn't see these people as people, just inventory. Premium cuts. That was what he called them. I never returned to that Hooters. I couldn't. They offered me counseling and relocation. I turned them down. I don't know where I would go if I felt safe again. I quit restaurant work entirely. Sometimes late at night, I still wake up with the cold fear pressing on me. The memory of the tattoo, the way he smirked when he held the knife. It's like a shadow I can't shake. I walk past Hooters on the highway occasionally. The building's lights hum in that familiar orange glow, and I get that same feeling in my gut, like someone's watching me, like those boxes are still there, waiting for the next shift, the next person who thinks they're safe. Because I'm not just scared of men like Derek, I'm also terrified of those who ordered his premium cuts. Hello, my name is Jaden Blacksky. A few years back, when I was about 11, something happened to my little foster brother Eli that still makes my skin crawl every time we talk about it. We all grew up on a tiny Cree reserve in northern Manitoba, York Landing. Houses are spread out, and behind them is nothing but thick bush and trails for miles. One warm, rainy summer night in 2021, me 11, my sister Leona 10, our older foster brother Mason 10, and little Eli, he was only 8 or 9, decided to play manhunt after dark. It was already past 10 p.m., pouring rain, but we didn't care. We all picked Eli to be it because he was the smallest and easiest to gang up on. He covered his eyes and counted to 30 while the rest of us scattered into the wet forest behind the houses. Leona and I ran together toward the big gravel pit the band uses for road work. The rain had turned the sand into thick mud. We crouched down in some bushes near the tree line and waited, trying not to giggle too loud. Eli's side of the story is the scary part. He started hunting, took the main trail that leads down to the gravel pit, then cut left onto the neighbor's path that loops back toward the houses. In the rain and darkness, he thought he spotted two kids walking ahead of him, exactly our height, our builds, wearing the same kind of hoodies Leona and I had on. He grinned, thinking he'd found us easy, and started creeping after the figures. The two figures never ran. They just walked slow, side by side, like they wanted him to follow. Then one of them turned its head and looked right at him. Eli said the second it noticed him, both figures stopped dead. He dropped flat into the mud, heart pounding. A few moments later he swore he heard Leona and me calling his name, soft, sing-song, coming from deeper in the bush. Eli, come find us. That's when he backed up, terrified, and bolted toward the house from our side. After 10 minutes we hadn't heard anyone scream found, so Leona and I gave up hiding and jogged back to the house. Mason was already there. Eli wasn't. We waited maybe 2 minutes, then all started yelling his name and fanning out. We found him a couple minutes later walking out of the neighbor's yard, soaked, crying his eyes out. We hugged him and he could barely talk at first. He told us everything I just said, how the two figures looked exactly like me and Leona, how they turned at the same time, how they tried to call him deeper into the trails when he hid. We ran inside and told the adults. They laughed it off, said he probably saw shadows or got spooked by his own reflection in the rain. But we know what Eli felt, and sometimes, late at night, I still think about what would have happened if that little 8-year-old boy had kept following us down that dark trail instead of running the other way. Whatever was wearing our faces that night, it didn't want to play manhunt. My name is Cole Rivers. Back in fall 2019, when I was 19 and studying in Portland, my buddy Tyler talked me into a quick weekend camping trip down south along the Oregon coast. We found this random pull-off deep in the woods, super secluded, no cell service, no other cars. Perfect, we thought. While I was setting up my tent, I noticed a handmade sign nailed to a cedar tree. Private property, no trespassing. Someone had scratched out the rest of the original warning and spray-painted underneath in dripping red letters. Die. I laughed, showed Tyler, and said, "That's some hardcore Halloween decoration." Tyler didn't laugh. His face went stiff. He told me we should probably leave, but I called him a baby and said nobody's actually out here. So we stayed. We built a fire, roasted hot dogs, messed around until late, then crawled into our tents and passed out. I don't know what time it was, maybe 2 or 3 a.m., when I woke up to the sound of slow footsteps circling us. Crunch, pause, like someone testing every stick before they stepped on it. I shook Tyler awake. He heard it too. We lay there dead silent, staring at the tent wall. Then the zipper started moving, real slow, tooth by tooth. The flap opened just enough for a head to push in. The guy's face was black with months of filth. Eyes blood red, teeth rotted almost to points. He smiled the slowest, sickest smile I've ever seen, like he'd been waiting years for this exact moment. In a low rasp he whispered, "Didn't you boys read the sign?" His right hand slid inside the tent, holding something long, yellow-white, and sharp. A bone, looked like a deer femur someone had spent weeks grinding down into a jagged spear. Tyler screamed so loud it hurt my ears. I reacted without thinking, shoved the guy's face as hard as I could. He stumbled back, I exploded out of the tent, and he swung that bone spear at my head. I barely ducked, felt it whistle over my hair. "Start the car," I yelled. Tyler was already sprinting. The maniac came at me again. I kicked him square in the chest, turned, and ran faster than I've ever run in my life. Dove headfirst into the passenger seat as Tyler floored it. Gravel and mud sprayed everywhere. We left the tent, sleeping bags, everything. Didn't stop driving till we hit the highway and saw other headlights. 3 days later, we went back with a cop buddy of Tyler's to grab our stuff. The tent was still there, except now the entire thing was soaked in fresh red spray paint that spelled die over and over. Inside, on our sleeping bags, were 2 gutted animal carcasses, raccoons maybe. They'd been opened up, ribs cracked outward, organs arranged in neat little piles. The smell made us gag from 20 feet away. We grabbed what we could, torched the rest, and swore we'd never go back. To this day, I still don't know if that guy was just some psycho hermit or something that had been guarding those woods a lot longer than any human should. My name is Noah Gray. This happened in summer 2020, right in the middle of lockdown. My parents decided to get the whole family out of the city for a week, so we booked this huge old resort up north near Thompson, Manitoba. It looked like a giant 3-story gray house that had been turned into cabins. We were literally the only family that showed up. Everything else was closed because of COVID. We got one massive room on the 2nd floor. 3 bunk beds, 1 king bed, enough space for all 10 of us, me 9 at the time, my parents, my 2 teenage cousins Rylan and Sky, my auntie Lisa, her husband Darren, and their little kids Mia and Levi. First day was normal, swimming, campfire, whatever. Second night changed everything. Around 2 a.m. the knocking started, slow, heavy knocks on the door. Knock, knock, knock. My dad and Uncle Darren woke up first, then the rest of us. The door was locked and chained, so at first we just froze and listened. Uncle Darren got on the floor and looked under the door. There was about a 2-inch gap. Knocking kept going, but no feet, no shadow, nothing blocking the hallway light. We were whispering, scared out of our minds. I fell back asleep somehow because I was little. Next night, same thing, but worse. Knocking again, louder. Then it stopped. A second later, the doorknob rattled hard, like someone was shaking it in anger. When it couldn't get in, whatever was out there started stomping. Boom, boom, boom. Heavy footsteps walking back and forth right outside our door. The whole floor shook. Dad looked under the door again. Still no shadow, no legs. The stomping faded down the hallway. When it was finally quiet, Dad grabbed a flashlight, undid the chain, and stepped out to check. Uncle Darren stayed inside, watching the gap under the door. I'll never forget Uncle Darren's face. He went white as paper and whispered, "I can see your dad's legs. I can see his shadow clear as day, but whatever was walking before had nothing." Dad came back 30 seconds later, slammed the door, locked it, and wouldn't talk until morning. Next day we packed up fast. While we were loading the cars, Mom and Auntie asked the only worker there, an old guy at the front desk, if some drunk guest had been wandering around at night. He looked at us weird and said, "Ma'am, you're the only people that have been here in 3 weeks. Everyone else canceled. There's nobody on this property but you." We left that same hour and never went back. Sometimes I still wonder, was it a person who somehow hid their legs and shadow every time we looked? Or was something else trying to get into that room? Something that only wanted in when it knew a bunch of kids were sleeping inside. Imagine this, you're 17. It's February in Orange County, California. You open your locker and find a red envelope with a photo someone secretly took of you laughing in the quad. On the back, in black Sharpie, "I've watched you long enough. You're mine now. Jay, that's how I met Jake Carter. Senior quarterback, quiet, ocean blue eyes, the kind of guy every girl at Huntington Beach High wanted. And for some insane reason, he wanted me." That photo was the start of the most electric 4 months of my life. My first love, the one every song is written about. He knew everything about me before I told him. My favorite coffee order, the way I chewed my pencil in AP Lit, the exact spot on my neck that made me melt when he kissed it. He'd leave handwritten notes in my car, wait outside every class, text me at 3 a.m. just to say, He couldn't sleep without hearing my voice. My friends called it stalker behavior. I called it soulmate shit. Then graduation came. I got into UCLA. He got a football scholarship to Oregon. Distance turned our fire into smoke. Calls got shorter. Texts stopped. One day his number was disconnected. No goodbye, nothing. He erased me. 6 years later, I'm 23, living in a shitty one-bedroom in Long Beach, scrolling Instagram at 2 a.m. when a DM slides in from a blank profile. Just one coffee, Madison. I still count the days. My heart actually stopped. It was Jake. I told myself I was just getting closure. My roommate Kaylee literally grabbed my phone and begged me not to go. People don't ghost for 6 years and come back normal, Maddie. I laughed. Some chances only come once. I wore the same vanilla perfume I wore at 17. Curled my hair the way he used to wrap it around his fingers. When my Uber pulled up to that little 24-hour diner off PCH, there he was, leaning against his matte black Jeep like no time had passed. Same Letterman jacket, same crooked smile that ruined me at 17. He opened his arms. I walked straight into them. For 30 seconds I was home. We sat in the back booth. He remembered everything. The song from our first slow dance at prom. How I hated olives. The way I said literally too much. By the time the waitress brought our second round of coffees, I was laughing so hard my sides hurt. I was ready to cancel my entire life and run away with him again. Then he went to the bathroom. A black bandana slipped from his pocket and hit the floor. I picked it up to hand it back. It was heavy. I unfolded it under the table. Inside was a brand new surgical scalpel and a tiny plastic bag with a dried, pressed rose petal covered in dark brown flakes. I knew that petal. It was from the rose he gave me the night he said, "I love you," for the first time. Senior year, 2018. The blood on it wasn't from 2018. Jake slid back into the booth. That same smile. But his eyes were different now. Empty. Miss me mads. My hands were ice. I shoved the bandana into my purse before he noticed. He reached across the table and traced the exact same spot on my neck he used to kiss. "You still taste like vanilla," he whispered. I laughed. It sounded like a dying animal. He picked up the steak knife beside his plate, laid his left hand flat on the table, and started stabbing between his fingers, faster, faster, faster. The blade blurred, couples around us froze. "Jake, stop!" He went faster. A thin line of blood ran down his middle finger. He didn't blink. "You know what I realized in Oregon?" His voice was soft, loving. "No one laughs like you." I checked. I stood up so fast the table shook. I have to go." His hand shot out and locked around my wrist. Same grip he used when he pulled me into the backseat of his Jeep at 17. Only now it felt like a handcuff. "We're not done, Madison. We never were." I ripped free and ran. Outside, the valet saw my face and asked if I needed help. Then Jake stepped out behind me, slow, calm. He walked right up, cupped my face with both hands like he used to before every kiss, and whispered against my lips, "I kept every girl who tried to replace you. None of them screamed your name when I carved it into their skin. You will." Then he kissed my forehead, gentle as ever, and walked away into the dark. I still have the scalpel. The crime lab said the blood on the rose petal belonged to 3 different women. All missing. All last seen with a guy matching Jake's description. His Instagram is gone. His Jeep was found burned out in the Angel's Forest. No body. I sleep with every light on now. Because sometimes at 3:17 a.m., exactly 6 years since our last night together, my phone lights up with a single text from a blocked number. Still counting the days, Mads. My first love is still out there, and he's getting better at waiting. Imagine you're 26, single for the first time since high school, and you're standing at your company holiday party in downtown Seattle. Everyone's drunk, the DJ's killing it, and you're finally starting to feel okay again after the worst breakup of your life. Then you see her across the room. She's leaning against the wall in a black dress that makes her look like she stepped out of a 90s music video. Long auburn hair, green eyes, the kind of beautiful that makes people move out of her way without realizing they're doing it. But nobody's talking to her. Groups literally part when she walks past. You feel bad. You've been that person. You grab 2 glasses of champagne and walk over. Thought you could use a rescue, you say, offering her a drink. She turns and her smile hits you like a punch to the chest. Funny, she whispers, I was about to say the same thing to you. Her name is Emily Harper. You've never seen her at the office before, but she says she's with the Portland branch, in town for the weekend. Conversation is effortless. She laughs at your dumb jokes. She remembers details you only mentioned once. Within an hour, you're telling her things you haven't told your therapist. You find out she grew up 2 towns over from you in Washington. Same shitty mall, same movie theater where you had your first kiss at 15. She even knows the exact song that was playing that night because it was her first kiss too with you. You were each other's first love at 15. You just never knew her real name back then. Summer Camp 2014. She was Emma from Tacoma. You made out behind the mess hall every night for 2 weeks, promised to stay in touch, and then life happened. Phones got lost. Parents moved. You both thought the other ghosted. Now, 11 years later, the universe just handed you a second chance on a silver platter. By midnight, you're making out in the elevator like teenagers. By 12:30, she's in your passenger seat, barefoot, singing off-key to the playlist you made at 16. You invite her back to your apartment in Capitol Hill. She says yes before you finish the sentence. The second the door closes, she's on you, hungry, desperate, like she's been starving for a decade. Clothes hit the floor. It's the best sex of your life. You fall asleep tangled together, whispering, I can't believe it's really you. You wake up at 3:12 a.m. to an empty bed. She's standing at your kitchen counter in your t-shirt, holding the biggest knife from your block, turning it slowly under the light. Babe, you croak. She doesn't turn around. You told your sister I was just a friend from work, she says, voice flat. You remember the quick call you took earlier when your sister rang to check if you got home safe. You'd laughed and said, yeah, just hanging with a coworker, no big deal. Emily finally faces you. Her eyes are wide, glassy, too green. I waited 11 years, Connor. 11. And the first time someone asks who I am, I'm just a coworker. She steps closer. The knife glints. I was in Cedar Hills for 8 of those years. Did you know that? They said I got too attached to people, that I couldn't let go. But they let me out last month, said I was cured. Your blood turns to ice. She tilts her head, smiles like she's reading your thoughts. Guess they were wrong. You back toward the bedroom. Emily, put the knife down. We can talk. There's nothing to talk about. She lunges, faster than should be possible, and slams you against the wall. The knife presses under your chin hard enough to draw a bead of blood. You were my first love, Connor. First loves are forever. That's what you wrote in my camp yearbook, remember? Forever and one day. You do remember. You were 15 and dramatic. She drags the blade lightly down your chest, carving a shallow red line that burns like fire. I'm going to make sure no one ever mistakes me for just a coworker again. You fight. You grab her wrist, smash her forearm against the counter. The knife clatters. She screams, not in pain, in rage, and claws your face so deep you feel skin tear. You shove her hard. She crashes into the fridge, photos and magnets raining down. For 1 second you think about running. Then you see the look in her eyes. Pure animal possession. She grabs a cast iron skillet from the stove and swings it like a baseball bat. You duck. It dents the drywall where your head was. You tackle her. Both of you hit the floor hard. She's biting, scratching, laughing through bloodied teeth. You can't leave me twice. You manage to pin her arms. You're screaming for help. She headbutts you so hard you see stars. Blood pours from your nose onto her face, and she licks it off her lips like it's candy. That's when the neighbors finally break the door down with the cops right behind them. They pull her off you. It takes 4 officers and 2 tasers. Even cuffed, she's smiling at you, whispering over and over, "Forever and one day, Connor. Forever and one day." Turns out Emily Harper was released from Washington's most secure forensic psych ward 38 days ago. She'd been locked up since she was 19 for hunting down the boy who took her virginity at 17 and carving her initials into his chest while he slept. He lived, barely. Police found a shrine in the trunk of her car. Your camp photo from 2014, your current work badge photo, printed Instagram stories, a lock of your hair she must have taken while you slept, and a list, 27 names. Yours was crossed out in red, with the words "found him" written next to it. I moved to a new city, changed my last name, deleted every social account, but every December, on the anniversary of that party, I get a new email from a random address. The subject line is always the same. "Forever and one day starts now." I never open them, because I know what the attachment will be. A new photo of me sleeping, taken from inside whatever apartment I'm hiding in this time. My first love found me after 11 years, and she's never leaving again. I used to chase the rush of married men, the secret texts, the hotel key cards, the way they looked at me like I was the last sip of water in the desert. I told myself it was harmless. I never wanted their wives' lives, just their attention and their credit cards. Then I swiped right on Ethan Brooks, 32, private equity partner in San Francisco, profile pic in a Tom Ford suit on a yacht. First message: "I'm only in Miami for 48 hours. Make them unforgettable." I was 27, living in South Beach, bored out of my mind. I said yes before I even asked if he was married. He was. Diamond band tan line on his ring finger when we met at the Seti bar. I didn't care. We spent 2 days straight together. He paid for everything. Sweet, champagne, the red La Perla set I wore just for him. He called me baby in this low voice that made my knees weak. He said his marriage was dead, that his wife hadn't touched him in 2 years, that I was the first person who made him feel alive since college. I ate it up. Every lie tasted like honey. On the second night he flew me to Atlanta on his company jet just because I said I'd never been. We checked into the St. Regis under my fake name, Chloe Monroe, room 2412. He ordered oysters and a $900 bottle of Dom. We didn't leave the bed for 14 hours. That's when the phone call came. He was in the shower. His phone kept buzzing on the nightstand. Unknown Georgia number. I shouldn't have answered. "Hello, sweetheart," a woman's voice purred, soft southern accent, sweet as iced tea. "Put Ethan on." I froze. She laughed. "Oh, honey, don't bother lying. I can see his location. And yours. Room 2412, right. Enjoy the view of Peachtree Street while it lasts." The line went dead. Ethan came out dripping wet, towel around his waist. I told him. His face went gray. "That was Lauren," he whispered. "My wife." He started throwing clothes in his bag, telling me to order an Uber to the airport right now, that she was unstable, that she'd been following him for months. I laughed, thought he was being dramatic. Rich people problems. I was wrong. 40 minutes later, I'm alone in the suite waiting for my car when the door clicks open. I think it's housekeeping. It's her, Lauren Brooks. Blonde, willowy, wearing a cream trench coat and red bottom heels like she just stepped off a runway. She's holding a bottle of champagne in one hand and a stainless steel meat tenderizer in the other. "Hi, Chloe," she smiles, closing the door with her heel. "Or is it Ava tonight? You change names like underwear." I back toward the balcony, 24 floors up, no way out. She pops the champagne cork. Foam spills over her manicured fingers. Ethan always orders the same bottle when he cheats. "Did he tell you I was crazy? That I stopped touching him?" "That's cute." She steps closer. The tenderizer swings casually at her side. He stopped touching me the night he came home smelling like some sorority girl's coconut perfume. I was 6 months pregnant, lost the baby 2 weeks later. Stress, the doctors said. My stomach drops, she tilts her head. You're prettier than the last one. Younger, he's upgrading. I try to run past her. She swings the tenderizer like a pro golfer. It connects with my ribs so hard I hear something crack. I hit the carpet gasping. She straddles me, pins my arms with her knees, and pours champagne straight into my mouth until I'm choking. You know what I do with girls who touch what's mine. She leans down, lips brushing my ear. I give them my face. She drags me by my hair to the bathroom. The marble is cold against my skin. She's humming their wedding song. The deep fryer in the sweets kitchenette is already on. Ethan must have ordered late-night truffle fries. The oil is bubbling at 375 degrees. She forces my head toward it. I scream. I beg. I tell her I'll disappear forever. She laughs. That's what the last girl said. She still sends me Christmas cards from the burn unit. The heat is unbearable. My cheeks blister. My eyelashes curl. I can smell my own hair singing. I'm seconds from going face first into boiling oil when I remember the balcony. With everything I have left, I kick backward. My heel connects with her knee. She stumbles just long enough. I scramble up, sprint through the suite, throw open the glass door, and scream down 24 floors into downtown Atlanta traffic. 2 hotel security guys hear me. They bust in with master keys. Lauren is gone, but she left the meat tenderizer on the bed next to a Polaroid of me sleeping from the night before. On the back, written in red lipstick, new face loading. Ethan's company card paid for everything, so the cops found me fast. Lauren Brooks vanished. Her Mercedes was found abandoned at Hartsfield-Jackson with a plane ticket to Grand Cayman. One way. They never caught her. I live in Ohio now, under my real name. No social media, no dating apps. I can't be around hot oil. The smell of anything frying sends me into full-blown panic attacks. I still have the scar shaped like the state of Georgia across my left cheek. Every first of the month, I get a delivery. A single red La Perla box. Inside is always the same thing. A lock of blonde hair and a new Polaroid of some terrified girl wearing my old lingerie. On the back, always the same message in that perfect red lipstick. Your face looked better on you anyway. I destroyed the last man I ever let call me baby, and his wife is still wearing my skin in her dreams.